Let me go to the next thing here. Navi says, what are some tips to build up branding for security consulting? Should I build a brand in my name or a company name? I'm thinking a website, LinkedIn, and conferences. Okay, I can really help with this one, because this one right here is something I've been doing for years. Surprised more people don't ask me that question. What you're looking at here, Navi, is my site. One of my sites. This site basically promotes other people's jobs. It promotes some of my courses that are free. Some are paid and stuff like that. And I've been doing this for a really long time. Not this particular site. I used to have another site. And all I did was I gave out free information. And I got the concept of kind of like a thank you economy is what we live in right now. So basically, essentially what you do is you give out free stuff. You give out free information. You give things to people, right? You help people with their problems. Someone has a problem, you help them. And what happens is there's this, I don't want to call it karma, but when you give people things, people tend to come to you, right? So just to lay out the structure, I started off with a simple website on WordPress that didn't look nothing like this, but it was a WordPress. This right here, what you're looking at, is a WordPress site. And all I did was put out information. And what happened was somebody found me on Google. This was back when blogs like meant something. And then they offered me to write a book for them, and I did. I wrote like a manual on how to do risk management framework. And then they said, hey, do you want to teach this stuff? I said, sure. So I taught the stuff I wrote, and they paid me for all this stuff. And to answer your question, I started off giving out information. And then when people ask me questions, I answer those questions to the best of my ability. If I don't know the answer, I'm not going to be a BS artist and try to, fancy word my way to a solution for them. I just say, I don't know. That's not my wheelhouse. That's not what I do. But, here's what I do, and I'll tell them what I do. But yeah, I had to start off with a website and then went to social media, start putting stuff on social media. And eventually what things are now is videos like this. So the best thing I would do if I were you, I would start a website. You can either put your resume out there as a consultant and break down everything you do, or just do a blog where you talk about different issues in IT, make sure it's very focused. I don't talk about like trips I did. I do that on a whole separate platform. I do that on a whole separate thing. Keep it focused on career, on professional stuff you do. So that's what I do on this site right here. That's what you do. And so with this site, with what you're watching right now, this video, with ConvoCourses, I've been getting people contact me a lot about either mentoring or consulting on different stuff that they have. They have like a small company and they want me to do something for them. I get those and stuff. And so I hope that answers your question. You got to give things to receive things. And as far as whether it's your name or not, that's really up to you. It depends on how far you want to go. If it's your personal name, then it's just you on consulting jobs. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you're doing a lot of consulting, if you're making a lot of money on it, you got to deal with taxes and legal issues. So you probably want to talk to like a tax advisor and ask them. I can tell you that my tax advisor and business people that I've talked to, legal people, I talked to, they told me to do like a business name or an LLC, really, because an LLC allows you to not be sued. Like if you get sued, they're only suing your LLC. Not to say that happens often. It's just that you're forward thinking. You're thinking 10 years ahead. You're thinking, okay, well, what if this is all I do? all I'm doing is I'm doing consulting work, and I'm making $100,000 a year doing consulting. And I did consulting, and somebody's network gets hacked, and then they come after me. You know, how do I protect myself legally? An LLC would do that. Now, this is not. I would definitely talk to a professional, a legal representative, a lawyer, something like that, to get more advice on starting an LLC. You know, I'm just some guy on the internet. Keep that in mind. So don't take my advice. Ask professionals who know how to do this and stuff. And always, like, if you have a goal in mind, if you have a 10-year goal, you're going to be thinking, okay, if it's just my name, then that's fine. That's actually fine. You can actually do a business in your name, as a matter of fact. If you want your name out there, then that's what you do. If you want to, say, have a separate business, like a side business, you probably want to name it something different than your actual name if you're still working for some company that has you do. If you're working for Price Waterhouse or IBM or something, and you're doing computers consulting for them, the first thing they're going to do is type in your name in Google. And if you want to keep your business separate from what you do at your work, then you probably want to have a different name for your work, you know, so that they're not tied together. And then another thing that they keep in mind, I'll give you an example of something that happened to me when I first started out. When I first started, my first site got really popular, to the point where people knew who I was and stuff. Like, people knew my name. And so one time I did this article about this. I went to this ethical hacking course, and it was really good. I had a lot of fun. I'm not gonna name the people because I don't want any kind of legal action. And it'll make more sense once I explain what happened. So I had this site, right, and it got pretty big. It's the same one that allowed me to get paid to write in that book and travel and stuff like that. And anyway, I did this article about this certification program I did, where it's talking about ethical hacking. And I talked about the course. I didn't say anything bad about the course. I said the course was awesome. I had a lot of fun, and you should take the certification. This is back when the CEH first started. CEH is a certified ethical hacker. Well, there was a competing certification, which I will not name, but that competing certification was good. I liked it. It was cool. It was fun and everything. It was practical and everything. And I talked about it on my blog. So how can I say this without getting in trouble? I'm not going to mention any names or companies. The person who owns this was a very successful person. Like, this certification and all the training he was doing so well that he actually is still, to this day, he's doing good. And so he had a name for himself, and his name was the CEO of this company. So his ex-wife contacted me on the blog. This is where the story gets crazy, all right? This dude's ex-wife contacted me from my blog and told me that this dude was a deadbeat dad, and said that he tried to kill her, and said all kinds of stuff. Like, she sent me an email that was like a book, and was explaining how terrible this guy is, right? And I shouldn't be promoting his product, and everybody should know what a terrible person he was, right? And I wasn't reading my comments every day. Her comment, she emailed me and she put it in my comments. Her comment appeared at the end of this article I wrote. Now, like I said, the article didn't have none of this stuff. All it was very technical, and just talked about, here. If you want to find it, it's not out there no more. I deleted it, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. So the article only talked about the course, and it was cool, and I did this and I did that, and that was it. And I named the person's company, and basically giving them free promotion because I thought it was a cool product and service. His wife puts this thing about all this stuff. Well, this article that I wrote was so popular that it would go to the top of Google. As soon as somebody typed in this dude's name, then my article would go to the top of Google, and her comments would be there with this guy's name in it. This dude, his lawyer contacts me and starts to proceed to threaten me, right? About take this thing down, or I'm going to sue you and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And you're responsible for everything in this article and blah, blah, blah. And I don't respond well to threats. All the dude had to do was talk to me. So I said, hey man, listen, all this legal talk is not necessary. All you got to do is ask me to take it down and I'll take it down. Right? That's it. Like, I don't respond well to threats. I'll get a lawyer if you want me to, but it is not necessary to threaten people. So he gets back to me and he's like, hey, look, sorry, man. I've been going through this stuff with my ex-wife, and all that stuff she says is not true. Could you please take that down? Could you just delete her comment? Delete her comments, right? And so I went through and I deleted her comment, and she was, all this time she's messaging me saying all this stuff, and they're going back and forth with me. I deleted her comment. His stuff keeps popping up, and then she keeps putting stuff in there about this guy. So eventually I just deleted the whole thing, right? Actually, what I did was I replaced my article with a picture of Johnny Cash giving them the finger, because I don't want to deal with it. It's none of my business. I hope all is well with them. I don't know what's going on. Both of them are telling me two different stories. I don't know. I'm just an IT guy. That's it. You know what I mean? So the moral of this story is that if the guy had sued me and I had put all that stuff under a corporation, he would have had a harder time at suing me and taking some of my hard-earned personal money. He could only attack the company, right? I would be liable. There'd be a limited liability for what the company does on me personally, right? So the more I'm out there, the more I do things like this, and the more people watch me, the more popular you get and stuff, the more insane situations that you get in contact with, the more people get upset with things you say that you might think that what you just said is fine, but they are upset about what you just said. Keep in mind that article was only technical. It was just technical. So my advice would be put it all in a different name. But you put your name out there, but get some kind of legalese, get some kind of corporate entity that protects you, especially if you're trying to get big, and make a blog and promote that product and service with videos, put out free stuff. You can do it. One of the people who first inspired me, who has great information on this, is this dude named Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V, if you've never heard of him. Guy changed my life. Gary V was the reason why I did the first blog. It works. The stuff he says works. And I read this book he wrote called Crushing It, and that's what inspired me to actually go out and start doing those blogs and putting out that information. He has another book that's really good. It's called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. Also a great book. He's talking about exactly what I'm telling you to do. All right, next question here. Interesting that blogs are not what they were. It's about platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube. Exactly, but see this blog right here? What the beauty of this blog is, it allows me to link everything together. This blog links jobs I get that come directly into my inbox. It links all my products right here and services. And it also has stuff from my YouTube page. So it kind of brings everything together. I don't see this as like one thing. This right here is tied to everything else I do. So that's the beauty of a blog now. It's not like popular like it used to be popular like YouTube, but now, not so much anymore. But it's still got a great useful function. And it also is great at collecting emails from people who want to get in contact with you, or they want to follow you, or they want a newsletter from you. There's just many things you can do with a blog. So keep that as a part of your portfolio.